I think a student like me should use really modern methods. To learn English or another language studying the perfect grammar in school is only the beginning. The real way to learn English perfectly is practicing. So it's a really good way using Facebook, for example. My best friend is American, so I always talk in English with her, and it really helps me. And then talking of things we like. Here are some suggestions. I can say that you should give the student all the things you know, and then let her choose the things that she wants to do in class. Most teachers think that being under pressure makes us give our best. That's not true. When I'm anxious or nervous, I really can't do anything. It's like I was blocked. So I think that the right way to improve is feeling comfortable and doing things that interest us. That's what a student showed me. Now, I'm going to start by priming you. I want you to be able to get fabulous reviews and to get some excellent results based on Dennis Littky's work and ASCD, that's the Association of Supervision and Curriculum Development in Washington, D.C. They published his book, which essentially has 3 quotes. Education is not filling a bucket, it's lighting a fire. It's about bringing out what's inside the child. You do this by making the classwork real. Is lecture a good way of transferring information? Or is it better to ask students to work in small groups? The student is the class is a second reference that I've used. And Abraham Fischler has pointed out that time is a variable. We should not be grouping students by age and then promoting them because they sat in class for 9 months. The second part of this in the next video will be what's in the student's portfolio. Well, we make the commitment that we're not going to have boring classes. No more lectures. We're going to find a cool teacher who embodies Neil Postman and Howard Gardner. You can find these teachers online. Some of them, like Dennis Yuzenas, organizes the classroom so that it does, in fact, as Ariana, the student who wrote that comment, said, she says, you don't want to make people nervous. You don't want to put them under pressure. What you can do is give the student all the things you know, and then let her choose the things she wants to do. So learn about different ways of teaching besides the lecture. You and I, we started off life going through schools where the teacher is a dictator who controls what comes into the classroom and the order in which the schoolwork is done. By the key point that Littky makes is that the student determines the pace. So we're following the student rather than leading the student. Dan Pink, Friedman, Lois Hetland, Will Sutherland, Mel Levine, Carrie Elcom, Dennis Yuzenas, Neil Postman, as mentioned before, Lee Brower, Marshall Thurber. If you can't find links to these people on the internet, contact me and I'll help you. Go to Dennis Yuzenas on YouTube and you'll see some videos that will help guide you. Learn how to make a web page or how to persuade a teenager to be your webmaster. Organize projects, lecture less, and give more choices. Then become a mentor and spread the movement. Now, one way also is to show quotes to students and parents and principals. And that's the priming process that we can go through. I'll just flip through some of the ones that work for me. I put these up on the classroom wall. I ask students to read through, get an idea. You can pause this if you need to look closer. This is a reminder I give myself. Hey, don't lecture. Stop the lecturing. Get the students to explain something, and then you can build on what the students explain, what their understanding is. And this comes from Glasser's. Don't give tests where possible. Let the students use their notes. No closed book tests. One of the students looked at this and said, oh, this could never happen in Germany. There are examples of teachers who had relationships with students, and it was very bad. In other words, there were intimate relationships. Well, what we're talking about is an intellectual conversation. Let's talk with the students. Let's ask them, how do you like being taught? And then adapt the classroom to the student rather than the student to the classroom method. It's taken 5 years for me to realize that I can do this too. And it's shifting to the individual the burden of pursuing his own education. Yes, they're paying us, teachers, to lead them through a bulk of information so they can pass a test. But we find it's more valuable if they can grab that information themselves through small projects. Give students all the things you know, and then let her choose the things she wants to do. Yes, this is more of a mature student, but I've had success doing this even with A1. You find out where the student's at, and then you give them a choice. That's part one. Now let's go over and describe the student's portfolio.